to 010 Podcast. I'm Dr. Josie.
And I'm Andy.
We're here for real, honest conversations about life, the successes, struggles, and everything in between. Join us for laughs, authenticity, and the feeling of talking with friends who truly get it. Okay, so we're back with Anna and Caroline. We talked a ton about community, getting involved, a lot of things we didn't know about when it came to county and projects and learning something new. Let's dive into some personal things. And a lot of people might not know this, but I lived with Caroline for a little bit. So there was a time where I'd spend a day or two or a night or two in town while I was running the office here in Bismarck, and then I would run home into Linton and hang out there. But there was a time period where I needed to live with her full time. So I learned some things about her. And one thing that I loved so much is how you two always celebrate everything. Like, it seemed like you had great birthdays, anniversaries we talked about last episode. You guys did dinners with your friends. Like, you just make sure community is huge to you. Like, and you can see it in every aspect of your life. So kind of explain, are you guys both that way? Did somebody take the reins on that? Like, how did that work?
I think that as we've gotten older, we realize who your friends are and who your good friends are, and you want to keep them close. And yeah. And so we like to celebrate everything. And who doesn't love a birthday? I mean, I love birthdays so much.
Good. I think that's awesome.
And like you always, like when you're a little kid, right? Everybody makes a big deal about your birthday. And I don't know, we've always made a big deal about each other's birthdays.
So,
our husbands don't plan it, we do.
And it's so funny too that I was last time, I'm like, I have custody, till 5 p.m. and then he can have her. But it's funny you say that though, because some of our other friends have commented, they're like, we don't do anything for our birthdays, we just wait till it's one of your birthdays. I don't know. The thing about it is, like, as you've gotten older too, like, we're celebrating the small stuff. Like, the other day we were at our friend's house and we do a pizza night and she makes everything from scratch and it's amazing, and we make our own pizzas and stuff. And she opened $1,000 bottle of wine that she got from
a friend
or someone. Because that is our special occasion now, right? A random Wednesday or Thursday having pizza night with the four girlfriends, and like that's the reason we opened $1,000 bottle of wine. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because like at 22, when we would have first started this or like started working together and stuff, gosh, you had to save that for a special occasion.
Mm-hmm. So something big.
Yeah. So I think we're celebrating those things because you should, and that, I don't know.
And life's busy and it's mundane, and especially when you get into a routine, there's something fun to look forward to, right? In your 20s, every day's a fun day, or every night's a fun day. Like you have so much going on and you're always so busy. And then you get a little bit more settled into life and family and all of that, and you have something fun to celebrate and something fun to look forward to. And so, and some of those moments that you were used to doing all the time are a lot more scarce now. And so you want to make the most out of them.
Right. Yeah, I had a coach that told me to celebrate every little thing, right, that you could. And it took a while to get used to that. And I'm not saying I do a wonderful job, but it's, kind of keeping that in the forefront of your head to just have some fun, because things can get very serious.
And celebration can look differently for everyone, right?
Yeah.
We just happen to, make it big for our birthdays because it's fun. And we're 6 months apart, so it's like 6 months later, you're ready for another big shindig.
I don't know, but you guys have moved into houses and had a big, and your friends over for those. Like, you make sure you have open houses for others. I don't know what you guys just did in the park not very long ago.
Oh my gosh, you're so fun. You're such a great job.
But yeah, you guys just do such a wonderful job of that. So
let's go back to the $1,000 bottle of wine. Did it taste like $1,000 bottle of wine? Or did it taste no different
than
it
was very good.
Was it?
$1,000 good? I don't know if I have a palate to say that or not.
I know I wouldn't.
We opened a, $14 bottle after that?
Right.
And
you can
obviously, compared to the $14 bottle, it was vastly better, but I'm not spending
Right.
$1,000 on something you put in, like, you drink and it's gone.
Right.
So,
But you created, now you'll never forget that night.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was, and like, it's fun. And she brought out the real wine glasses. Normally we drink out of our,
Like silicone.
yeah, or like, we have labeled cups at our house with our names on them. And usually we just drink out of those. But yeah, we got the real wine glasses out and everything. So it was fun.
Right. Yeah.
I was just in California and I did the whole, we went to one wine tasting. Wonderful experience. It was at Dow is how you say that. And I would recommend it. Can't even tell you what town I was in. Somewhere between Monterey and Cambria.
Okay.
Something around there. We drove by the Hidden Valley Ranch.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It was kind of fun.
That is cool.
And so anyway, we went up to the top of this hill, mountain, whatever it would be out there. And it was the Dow estate. And we decided to do cabs that were every different year.
Oh.
So I do not have a palate as well, but it's amazing once you start like comparing like ears and tastes and even like the dollar amounts. It's like, well, now that I tasted that, yeah, that one kind of tastes like crap. It's like, yeah, I don't think I could go back now and say I would know the difference, but when they're all lined up, yeah.
But that's like the same with everything. Like Hannah taught me at Target, when you're standing in front of all the TVs, right? There's clearly a winner for clarity, right? But when you get home and the cheap one's in your living room, you're not standing next to the really nice ones. You don't know.
You don't know.
So we buy cheap TVs and cheap wine.
I love that. It's awesome.
But not cheap shoes.
Well, we're very hard on shoes.
Yeah, it's weird. We're both super hard on shoes, so we try and like. I will say, when I went to Europe this summer with my friend, and I spent a really good amount of money on one pair of flats. And I feel like I walk differently in them because I'm just trying not to scuff the toes.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, we're horrible on shoes. We're pretty thrifty.
Yeah. Like, speak to that. What do you mean thrifty? Where do you get, do you go to literal thrift stores or do you just look for sales?
I mean, sometimes, yeah. I mean, and thrifting's become very trendy
Yes,
now.
it has.
And recycling clothes and all of that. But, I mean, we've shopped at consignment stores. I think we're really thrifty in our business.
Yes.
I mean,
Thrifty / scrappy. I like scrappy. And I think to be a good entrepreneur, honestly, you kind of got to be scrappy. Like we were talking about with, you just kind of, in the beginning, you just, like we were saying, our office is full of my mom. I would say 80% of it is my mom's furniture.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's just what was available at the time. And now we don't. It's being thrifty and scrappy to, like, get.
And we talked about in the last episode that we spent, we pooled our money and the first issue was $8,000. Well, we needed to have a launch party too. So we found, I think Peacock Alley at that point was doing happy hour from 4 to 6. So our launch party was from 5 to 7 and we ordered all the appetizers off the happy hour menu. We just figured it out. And we traded the backdrop for like a advertising. Yep.
We just did everything. But in real life, though, I'm not going to lie. My mom taught me how to shop. Taught me how to, if it's not 70% off or more, I'm probably not buying it, honestly. She makes fun of me. Hannah makes fun of me a lot for this. Because I'll literally come into the office and she'll be like, oh, I like your outfit. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got these pants. They were $1,000 for $70. And she's like,
yeah, but it's more like, but look what I got. It was $2,000 and I got it for $4. I'm like, shut up.
Like, actually, though, I sometimes I think about, like, the retail value of what I'm wearing versus what I paid. It'll be like, I'm like, today is a $3,000 outfit. This is so fun. But I paid maybe $120.
But where?
Oh, TJ Maxx. Nordstrom Rack. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's a couple on the websites but
yeah.
I am just, when someone spends full price on something, it actually blows my mind. I love a deal. I get a deal on my cars, my houses, my wedding ring, literally everything is a deal.
Yeah. And you're proud of it. It's not like a lack mindset around it, because I think you could get that way, right? But like, you're like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm so energized by it. I just love it.
And what's funny too is, right, when you're 22 and you're like, okay, I can't wait until I'm 30 and I can buy this. And then you get to 30. You get to that big milestone, and you're like, man, that took me a long time to make that Vuitton or whatever it is, and I'm like, I'm not buying that.
There's no chance of buying that. Yeah, exactly. And like, it's good to have goals though. Like, I think that forces you to like, what I've always done too is I've maybe stretched my means a little bit, whether it's a house or other big purchases. And what it does is force me to not buy random crap, which like, some people might think that's crazy that like, why would you overextend yourself on a house or something like that? I'm like, because it's an investment and I'm going to make money on it. It's not going to depreciate. Right. And I talk a lot about depreciating assets. We're not into them. And we're trying to acquire. What did you say?
We're acquiring assets.
We're only acquiring. We're not getting rid of. Or
yeah,
I don't know.
Something along those lines.
But like, really, buying a house doesn't scare me because it's going to appreciate and especially if I got a deal on it. But I like doing that to myself and putting myself in a little bit of a pinch because then I know that I'm at Target. I'm not going to buy the
random things.
The random thing because I'm going to look at it and be like, you bought a house, put it down. And I've done that my whole life. And I like doing that to myself.
Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite quotes is, the $1,000 purchases that you make aren't going to make you broke, but the $100 purchases that you make will. And that's so true. We don't even think about spending $100, right? But all of that adds up to multiple thousands of dollar transactions. And so, yeah, it's just one of my favorite things to think about.
Yeah. We love to be thrifty, but or scrappy. Bargains. Always bargains. Clearance. Love it. I don't, at TJ Maxx, I don't even shop the regular, the whole store at TJ Maxx is technically on sale, right? I don't even shop the regular price. I only shop the clearance aisles. Right. So, gotta get the deals.
Quick trip then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Browse. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, how old are you?
We're both 32.
I'm 32 for a couple more months.
So, as 32-year-old women, what kinds of things do you do to keep yourselves grounded, or what kinds of things do you do to keep your mind healthy, your body's healthy, your soul's healthy?
You take my classes. I coach Sweatco. It's a formal degree. I wish I could do it more, but I coach, and you take my classes at noon with me. And prayer is a really big part of my life. And I think it has been, I would say, within the last 3 years, I've gotten a lot closer to God and, learned a lot more about my religion and why I believe what I believe. And prayer and spiritual reading is a really big part of my life. And especially after having a kid too, I think that shakes your world a lot, and people don't talk about that. I think social media does a really great job of hyping up what life is supposed to look like after marriage and give you this kind of glamorous idea of what children look like and what motherhood looks like. And I don't think we talk about, the crazy part of it too, and the scary part of it. And so, yeah, I think for me, prayer has become, and my relationship with God has just become a huge part of who I am now, and grounding me and making me not worry and have less anxiety. Anxiety is such a thing that overtakes everyone so much in today's world. And I don't have a lot of it. And I truly contribute that to my prayer life and trusting in God. And yeah, I would say that's a huge thing.
We just had Rhonda Jolliffe on our last episode, and as our last guest, and she said the same thing, and she's so grounded in her faith that she doesn't fear anything. And I think there is this thought process that, what do they say? If you're anxious, it's because you're future focused, and if you're depressed, you're, but I think being grounded in faith keeps you just right here in the present, and that's really where we need to be living, right? That's awesome. Caroline?
I do physically, I feel really great when I work out. So go to Hannah's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's like Pilates, I'm going to say. But it's called Sweatco, and I go there, and my workouts have evolutionized. I used to run marathons when I was young and had springy knees, and now I don't do those things. And I don't have the mental capacity for a 4-hour run anymore either. Like your life just isn't college and high school. Of course, I have time for that. Now I don't. So I would just be running the whole time thinking what I need to be doing instead of what I'm doing. So I just don't even do it anymore. My workouts have become very different, but I feel so much better when I do them. For me, my life is, I am my best self when I'm working 8 to 8 every day. I love it. I get such a high from working. But what people don't understand is then, like, I don't stop. Like, I don't stop working. I work every weekend. I work every night that I can. And I love it. And it sounds crazy. But that's just because most people, I feel like, work 40-hour work weeks and they save up their vacation and they go to Mexico for 2 weeks every year. And that's their life. It's very different from my life. I work. And then I'm lucky enough to have a dad that lives in Florida. So I buy myself a little Allegiant ticket, like I did yesterday. And I go down there and I crash. And I don't just go for the week. I go for the week. And I literally don't move. And he actually is really good about not talking to me. He knows to just leave me alone. So I wake up, I go for a walk on the beach. And then I read my book. I go to the hot tub and I sit there by myself for hours. No, I'm not talking about music. Like, there's no music. It's literally me in my own head for hours. And I come back from that and I feel like a completely changed person and I'm ready to go again. So that's probably like how I do things to be mentally sharp and mentally focused. And I just really enjoy spiritually, and like, obviously in the last episode you heard me talk about God, and I called Hannah one day because, first off, I should just say that in her other life she should have been a psychiatrist. She's really good at it. And I called you one day because I'm like, do I put too much faith in God? Like, I'm literally like blindly going through, like, do I put too much? And you're like, you can't put too much. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, like, you're just really good at helping me with those hurdles. And yeah, I would just say, like, blind faith has been, in the last few years, has been like the most, I don't know if I can think of the right word, but just like only physically, like, what is this?
Just like letting go.
Yeah.
I used to hate the phrase "let go and let God." Like, I
actually still don't think I really like
it. Right? Like, I just couldn't stand when people said that to me because I
don't think of a new phrase.
Yeah, I still don't love it either because it's just like,
but it's true.
It is. It's so true because you have to just completely give yourself up to Him and allow Him to take over your life, because at the end of the day, as much control and free will as we do have, He's in control. He's going to guide you and steer you where you're meant to be. And you just have to trust that it'll be the right place. I mean, it is going to be the right place, right? Because He knows, and His plan is so much better than yours.
So with the second venue we spoke about in the last episode, with the second venue that we tried more recently, I told you guys that I kept hearing that song, Take Me to Church. Church, I'll worship it. Whatever. I don't, it's a weird song, but I just kept. So the second venue, it was God's Plan. And I was like, okay. Like, it's just so weird, like, how, like, some, like,
God talks to you in songs.
Right? I don't even like music that much. I'm not like the person like who sits and listens to music or anything. I actually prefer silence. I think we both do. But I like, it's just so funny. Yeah. So the second one was God's Plan by Drake. Yeah, and it works. I don't know, but God definitely has a plan. Like I say that a lot. God has a plan. I'm just here for it.
Right. Yeah. You talked about your trip to Florida, or your trips. Do you know that it's time to go and then you book, or is it like you make sure you do it every, like, oh, it's been 3 months?
No, I actually got to go 3 times last year, but that was a fluke. We went for Thanksgiving during our death after the end of the year, and then my dad had hip surgery, so I went to help him with that. That was awesome. That was a total fluke. I usually only go once a year. Hannah and I have really busy schedules from September through like February well, not even
Like middle of January.
Middle
End
of January.
Yeah.
And then like we go into our like very dead season again. So we both try and go somewhere for an extended time during that. So that's usually when I go. So I just booked yesterday and I'm going for the longest I've ever gone for, which is 2 weeks. I'm going on January 18th and get some quality head time.
Awesome.
I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's like what the whole retreats are all about, right? It's to
Right.
like head, yeah, get a vision. You guys are very visionary people. It seems like next plans and next things. So we talked about anxiety, thinking into the future, right? So do you guys have something that keeps you grounded, even just a conversation? Because you're dreamers, you're going to dream about the next thing. Like, oh, but wait, we still need to do what's right in front of us. What do you do to stay there?
Hannah's better at big picture than I am, and like what.
But I mean, I don't know if we've ever really had a point where we've had to stay. Like, we're both pretty good about knowing when the next time is. You know,
we're
like,
both feeling it at the same time.
yeah. Like, we're both kind of have the itch or are ready to go. Like, when we started Drive, I don't think we've talked about this yet, but
There's a luxury car service. We had a black Escalade that we would do like airport transfers, bridegroom, stuff like that.
and I mean, this was 2019.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we had done the magazine for 4 years at that point. We were, kind of ready to.
Yeah.
And you just came in one day and she was like, what do you think about this? And we put it together on a plane ride and pitched it to our friends and bought the car a month
Because we always also say, like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
later.
Yeah.
What is the worst thing? The car's still going to have value. So if you have to sell it, you have to sell it. Like, it is what it is.
I mean, that was probably, if you talk about failures, that was probably,
Yeah.
one of
It was. And I just don't think Bismarck was ready for it. And then obviously, like, 98% of what we did was airport transfers. Well, what happened in 2020? No one was flying.
Yeah.
And, like, it sucks because it was just, like, our numbers were just starting to creep up. And then it happened. And it's, like, again, huge blessing in disguise. Our lives, we ended up having to do a lot of the driving. So she would do, like, 5 a.m.s and I would do midnight stuff. My life isn't conducive to that, and hers definitely isn't anymore with a child. So, like, thank goodness, it went away.
And right there, God's plan, it went away.
Yeah.
It was just something that we didn't fit into our lives anymore.
Yeah.
And I would have had so much anxiety about having someone else do a drive and like not show up. That was
Talk
our
about
goal.
anxiety. You didn't
Service.
sleep. Like, she would never sleep because you couldn't miss the wake up call because like that's someone getting on their flight. And, yeah. So, did that? I feel like that didn't really answer what you were saying.
It's like, I find in my own stuff when I look at something that I want to do, like I want it now. So having the patience to let it develop and not, because if you can work 8 to 8, like, could you push yourself too far, in trying to get this goal accomplished? Like, we're going to do this.
And I probably have, or at least
you
pushed.
definitely have.
Definitely.
I've pushed, and I've definitely pushed my husband past his breaking point because my breaking point is a lot further down the road than his. So like she reminds me, like I didn't have a project going this summer, so I was twiddling my thumbs, going home after my real job. Like, what do I do now? But like she goes, I think your husband needed the break, so just take it for what it is. So I mean, she's good at putting me in my place, and keeping me like.
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes, neither of us suggest going into business with a friend. Neither of us promote it. Neither of us tell people that it's a great idea. We've had multiple people ask us because it is a marriage. Like, you are married to that person financially in some way, emotionally in some way, right? Like, you two rely on each other. And so it's challenging in some aspects.
And someone once said to me, it was someone actually from our networking group. She said to me, have you ever thought that Hannah's your soulmate? And I was like, that's really interesting. And like, I'd never thought of that. Like, why would a girl be my soulmate? But it kind of makes sense now the older I've gotten.
the soul isn't female or male.
And
Do you know what I mean? Or
and
like
every relationship-
we think of a soulmate as being like a love partner
Yes,
or whatever.
yes.
But
Well,
it's
that's what I
not.
only knew
And I
it
think
as.
we have more than one. I mean, I think soulmate is
Yeah.
their souls are drawn to each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you fulfill
Find
each other in different ways, right? Your spouse fulfills you in a different way than your best friend does, or your
Yeah.
business partner does, or your other friendships. They fill your cup. Also a phrase I don't like, but it's in other ways.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you guys ever had just like a big, huge blowout?
Only once. It was about a gay man, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, one time we were screaming at each other in the car, and it's because she wanted to date this guy
Who was clearly
who was
not
so
interested.
obviously interested, and she thought I was like making it up, but I wasn't. And now she knows. And
Now he's married to a man.
Well, no, but
Still is no one knows.
yeah,
Well,
so
it's all right.
but that's really it, which is kind of
So it was
it wasn't even
personal.
about
It wasn't
business.
business.
Yeah,
No,
it was
it's
really
you guys, it is never about business.
No.
People ask that all the time. One of us always feels strongly about something
more passionate.
Yes. If we have like an issue, quote unquote, than the other person.
So that person wins.
Yes. We have never thought about business ever.
Because, like, if she feels really passionately or strongly about something, I usually don't care enough to even argue with her on it that way. So that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think having your guys' partnership has helped in your marriages on how to handle conflict, or even your clients, like everybody, like how to communicate?
No, we communicate very differently with each other. Than we do with our husbands, or than we do with anyone
Her on the
else.
phone with her husband is like, "Hi, honey. Okay, honey. Love you, honey." She and I, like, when we had a sales rep full time for like 3 years, Danelle Dennis now, she, like, I think people think we're fighting, but we're just talking.
Mhm.
So we definitely are very short and to the point with each other, even more than, like, I mean,
There's just no fluff. There's
Nothing.
no fluff.
no. And we're very direct with each other. Well, and we get, a lot of people think we're sisters. We're like, we don't really look like each other other than we have brown hair. But I think it's more based on our
There towards each other.
yes than anything else. It has to be because, yeah, we get asked that just about as much as if we're starting a venue, we get asked, are we sisters? So, no. There's no way.
No.
So,
I think people will ask us if we're mother daughters.
I don't know what
That would hurt my
Andy
heart.
is way too good for that.
Yeah, no way. That's not going to be the case.
Seriously.
I can see that. The blondes with the
Yeah, I mean,
blonde blue eyes.
you'll
Yeah.
get sisters.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just interact around some people that don't know you. They'll think you're sisters.
Right.
Mhm.
One of my favorite questions, and I asked Rhonda of this last one too, but I like to know what people are reading or what they're listening to or what they're watching or whatever. So do you have anything that you're into right now?
Yes and no. I don't read a lot, but I am reading a book called He and I, and it's a diary between Jesus and this woman. And it's really short. They're just short little snippets, and it's just phrases, and it's beautiful. It's really changed my relationship with God too, because it's just so simple and very conversive. And I'm a podcast person. Like, I love podcasts. I listen to pretty much everything, to murder mysteries and like dumb stuff, to business podcasts. And it doesn't matter what kind.
Like when Hannah was working at Target at 4 a.m. every day before Bismarck Magazine could pay us. Well, even honestly, past that.
Well,
just
past
kinda
that, yeah, I
liked
liked it.
It's mindless. She got to stock the shampoo aisle. But she got to listen at that time, right, because there were no people in the store, so she got to listen to podcasts. She'd always come to the office from Target and have some big idea from some podcast she had listened to while she stocked the shampoo. So that was always kind of funny, but
You're an avid reader.
I love to read, but I don't get to do it as much as I used to. I do it the whole time I'm on vacation, where I mentioned where I die in a pile, whether it's Florida or Colorado or wherever. I read. I love it. I'm not embarrassed of this. Every night when we get home around 8:30, we get into bed, my husband and I, and we watch a show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I like TV.
Yeah. You should not be embarrassed.
I know, but everyone's like, oh, I listen to the podcast now. Okay, I watch TV, okay? I do. I've got all the subscriptions, and I'm happy with my life.
She loves teen rom-coms.
I love teen rom-coms because there's no drama. Like, there's so much drama, but, like, it's such a joke, and I just love it. We're currently watching, and thank goodness my husband indulges because he's watched Gossip Girl with me, and we're currently watching, I don't know, like,
Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, Vampire Diaries. So, yep. I don't know why, but, like, we get showered and into bed, and we just lay there and try and pump 2 episodes out, and then we go to bed. And I really like it.
I call it mindless television because I like it too. I like to pick something mindless that I can watch, but I also cannot watch.
Yep.
You know, that's just on. And so, yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
All the holiday Hallmark stuff.
Yeah,
It
it
already started. I'm like, I'm in it already. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying I need Christmas here before
Yeah.
Halloween. I'm not saying that. But
I
dang,
know.
I just like
And,
them. They're so good.
I love that, and like how it's not ABC Family or Freeform like does all the 25 days of Christmas, and then in October it's
13 days of
31 days of Halloween. So I've been watching like all the Halloween towns and Twitches, and I mean I had them on like while I was doing laundry and stuff, but you know it's like you can cut back and forth.
I think, you know, I had never watched any of those until I think COVID was the first year that I watched some of that stuff. And I kind of made fun of it in my head maybe a little bit, was like the Lifetimes and the Hallmark channels, until what I realized the draw for me is that it's wholesome. And there's so much, there's so much yuck on television. And, you know, even that I watched Vampire Diaries once upon a time, long after it was popular, but it was entertaining, but like, there's yuck. You know what I mean? There's like, but this Hallmark stuff is so wholesome.
It is.
And it draws me to it.
That's the same with like the books I read. I do read a lot of like biographies and historical fiction because I love the books I read. If someone dies, I'm not interested because that's real life and I'm trying to get away from it.
Right.
And so the same with like my teeny bopper shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. And like,
It's so wholesome. kind of.
One that I won't watch with the girl on Netflix.
well, there's lots.
The girl.
Like,
Who Brent watched?
I don't know. We've watched a lot of.
Why won't you
She's
watch
in a
it?
cabin.
Because it's
Oh, it's just too
It's a Virgin River.
Yes.
Oh,
It's just
that's on my list, but
watch it.
I like
Don't
to have
listen
them all done before I watch. Like,
Yeah,
I
well, the
like
new
whole
season comes
series.
out soon.
I saw that.
Watch
Is
it.
that the last one or is there
Yeah.
more?
I'm sure there'll be more. But why that one?
Because I tried.
Is it drama?
It was boring.
No, it's not. It's very wholesome, Andy. No. What do you watch? My husband won't watch Sweet Magnolia, but yours will.
Yes, mine will watch that.
Yeah. So it's fine. But I have this theory that boys actually do like girl shows a lot.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
My brother's favorite movie growing up, I would always find the VHS in the TV. You know, we had the TV with it built in, and I would hit the eject, and out would pop First Daughter with Katie Holmes all the time. And I'm like, ever since then, I've had a theory that boys just like girly shows too.
Yeah.
They can watch all the gun shows too, but I think at the end of the day,
They love a good
girl
chick
show.
flick.
Yeah.
It's chick flick. Yeah.
That's cute.
Well, we all have our ways of unwinding, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's good,
Mm-hmm.
right? At the end of the day, watch a little Vampire Diary. And,
Currently, we're in an email at our house.
Yeah,
it's wholesome.
Talk about mom life. Like, how,
I mean, it's great. I love
Yeah.
mom life so much. Being a mom is so much better than I expected it to be in the best way. But like I said before, it is, everybody throws the highlights out there, right? Like it is very challenging and it does affect your marriage. And you get through it, right? You just have to power through it. And I will say, being an older mom, and I'm going to say that very loosely because I don't mean that I'm old, but being in Bismarck, right, everybody gets married at 21, 22, and they have babies right away. So being a little bit older, you're a little more selfish. I have no problem admitting that. And it's a big lifestyle change. My husband was also is older too. And so you're so focused on you, or just you and your husband. And then all of a sudden you have this little life that now disrupts your whole universe. And it's great, but also super challenging. And now he's 1.5, and it's so awesome. And there's so many ups and downs, but yes, being a mother is great. And the biggest thing that surprised me is like, no one tells you that you're going to love this little human so much, right? Like you have no idea until they come that how much you love them.
Just rip things off your heart, right?
And like 30 days later.
Yeah.
They come and then 30 days later.
Yeah, I did. My mom came and stayed with us for a month, and I do remember being like, can you please take it back? Just take it back. I just need you to take it. Because it's so overwhelming, and there's so many emotions and hormones and everything. And I'm like, we just got to bring him back. We got to bring him back. Is there a place where we can bring him back to? And he's like, no, he has to stay here.
I'll give you 15 minutes.
Yeah. She's like, just go take a shower. It'll be fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. I would never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell every new mom, not that I'm a mom pro by any means, but like just give it a month, 30 days, and now you've like kind of feel normal-ish after 30 days.
So what's next for you guys? Do you?
I feel like I've stopped
Is it
answering.
more personal next or professional next or neither?
Probably professional next.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We're both just kind of content and where we are. We rebranded our bridal magazine to Badlands Bride, and that's been enough of a challenge right now to kind of scratch the itch a little bit, if you will. But we're here for God's plan.
You guys have side gigs too, right? A little bit, and some rental properties. So you guys are just
Yeah,
have your
We
fingers.
scratched the itch with that stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, and it's okay to be. I think sometimes too we're always taught that. Like, it's a great question. I'm not saying because it's good to have that thought, but sometimes it's okay to just be sometimes too, right? And just enjoy where you're at before what comes next comes.
Right.
Well, it's a good foundation. I mean, if we just you guys have grown so much over the last however many years, 8 years or 9 years, you're saying, so almost 10, right?
Yeah, next year we get to celebrate 10, which is a really big milestone, and I think we're just excited to see what 10 years brings, right? Like that's a long time in business, and what does 10 years look like for us?
And we talk about that a little, and then it's so funny because it changes every day. It's just always change. I mean, truly, again, another saying that everyone says, but like when you make plans, God laughs. So I think we've stopped kind of making big plans because they never turn out how we think they're going to turn out anymore. Yeah. But like
Opportunity, look for that more than anything else, right? Not really
and if
come up
something,
with the plan on your own necessarily, but what comes in.
and
what
if something
comes in.
fell into our lap,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
yeah,
literally fell, like tripped and fell, face planted into our laps, maybe. But
right, but that's what I mean.
yes,
Yep.
So there's no point in making any crazy plans.
but like I will just say that at this point, after 10 years of being in business and trying to do new things and getting rejected and having successes, like I think we're just both in really good places. I mean, I don't know if I can say that for you, but like for myself, like I just feel like for right now, I'm where good place. I always picture like life as like a waitress, and like I have all these trays and I'm trying to hold them up, and one's a tray for work, and one's a tray for my husband, and one's a tray for my friends and my family, and like some of them drop and you have to like pick. Oh shoot, that tray's getting heavy. I gotta push it back up, and it's like all you can balance all your trays. I don't know why that's always been the analogy in my head, but like all my trays are kind of balanced right now.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Any words of wisdom for our listeners before we're done today?
That's you.
She's
The wise one.
She's the psychiatrist.
I mean, for me, the biggest life lesson is literally just trust. You know, you can't, there's no point in fitting, a square peg in a round hole. Like, trust that it's going to work out and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You get through it out on the other end, no matter what.
Anything?
No. See, that's her thing. Really, I mean, no.
That's all right.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
though.
thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes,
So
thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you so much for listening to 010 Podcast. We hope you learned something new today, and we hope you enjoyed your time with us. Please find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, 010retreats.com. Join us next week, same time, same place, 102.5.